Okay, so I had you write these two equations on the top of your paper. These two equations aren't on the reference sheet, so you have to have them memorized. You've been working on area of a triangle and rectangle since elementary school, so it should be pretty familiar to you. And then for these problems, we're going to start with the equations. So you just identify the shape. It's a triangle. So you write down the equation for area of a triangle, and then we're going to solve this equation step by step. So base times height right here. We need to identify the base and the height. This right here would be the base of our triangle. So we're going to find the base. And then the height has to be perpendicular to the base to the top point. So that would be this line right here. We're going to use as the height. I want to zoom in a bit more. Okay, so to identify this length, you can measure, just kind of count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 units. You can also use the coordinate plane to either check yourself, but this point is at 2 on the x-axis and this is at 10, so it makes sense that from 2 to 10 there's 8 units. And then for height, let's see, from 2 to 9 should be 7 units, and I might just count just to make sure I don't mess up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There. And when you're counting, don't look at the whole triangle because that can mess you up. Just count the length of that line and you should be good. Okay, now that we have the two numbers that are going to be plugged in for variables, we can plug it in. So when I check this, I'm going to be looking to see that you have all the work that I have the exact same way. These equations are going to get longer and more complicated. So while they're short, just practice this process so that way it's easier. Longer ones. Okay, so we set everything up. Now the next step is to start solving. It's all multiplication, so you can multiply them in any order. 8 times 7, I might get 56 like that. And then here's where some people get stuck. They're like, wait, how do I put that in the calculator? Look at the calculator. There's different ways you could do this. 1/2 times anything is the same as you could do, now I'm going to zoom out so you can see the calculator. Okay, so 1/2 times anything would be the same as dividing by 2, so you could just do 56 divided by 2 to get the answer. Something that first period didn't realize is you can actually put fractions in this calculator. Did you know that? You can put fractions? Okay, if you didn't know that, then 1/2, to put it in the calculator, there's this fraction button right here at the bottom, this one, and you can do 1 fraction 2, so that would be 1/2. So let me do that again. I'm using this button 1 fraction 2, so that's 1/2, and then you can times 56 to get 28. So I'm doing 1/2 times 56, 28. So the area of this triangle, 28 units squared. Yes. It is the exact same as dividing by 2. Yeah. I was just showing the fraction hack because some of the equations we're going to use are going to have like 4/3, and that's not the same as dividing by 2. So yeah, like I'm building skills that you'll need as these get more difficult. Okay, over here, same type of problem. I'll zoom in again. I know it takes a second to focus, but area of triangle LMN, so it's identifying it by its point LMN. The area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height, so write down the equation if you don't have it already. And then identify the lengths of the base and the height. So base and height here. 1 minute. Oh, go ahead. Thank you. The base here. Don't forget to put your phone up, please. This length from -10 to -1 is probably 9. You can also count it just to make sure. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then the height from 1 to 9 should be 8. You're going to count it just to check. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so the height's 8, base is 9. And then I'll plug these numbers into the equation. area equals 1/2, base is 9, height 8. And half of 72, so 1/2 times 72 is 36. Okay, next. Okay, so we're gonna move down to the bottom left rectangle now. For this one right here, it says, what is the area and perimeter of rectangle MNOP? So we're gonna find area of a rectangle, which area of a rectangle is length times width, and then perimeter, which you add up all the sides. Okay, so for the area equation, I need to determine what the length and the width is. So we'll call this the length, and then we'll find the width as well. So you can count squares or know that from 1 to 9, probably be 8. And I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, yep. And then for the width, this is from 2 to 8, so it's got to be 6. Maybe count to just be sure. 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, 6 units. With a rectangle, what's nice is opposite sides are equal. So if this is 6, I know this is 6. And if this is 8, I know this is 8. And I don't have to like count again or anything. And then area is length times width. So area is length 8 width 6. So it would be 48 units squared. And then perimeter, you add up all the sides. Add up all sides to find the length around the shape. So we'll just add 6 plus 8 plus 6 plus 8. See, this gives me 14 plus 14 and 28 units all the way around. Area is squared because it's square units, and then perimeter is just units because it's just the distance. Okay, so this would actually be like a level 2 skill on the EOC, this right here. A level 3 skill, like if you're shooting for a level 3, would actually be this right here. So we're finding the area and the perimeter of this shape, but we can't just like count squares to find the length of the sides. So first setting it up, area will be length times width, and then we'll find perimeter after. Oof. Let's see if I can spell, we'd be doing good. That says perimeter. Okay, so we have to find length and width, which would be the length of this and the length of this. But again, we can't just count squares because it's diagonal. So we're going to use the methods that we've been working on this week, where you could either use distance formula, but I prefer the Pythagorean theorem. So I'm going to sketch out a right triangle here. It's supposed to be a right triangle. I know some human error in that line. But here's a right triangle, and then I can use the dimensions to find this length. So this would be 3 units here, and then from this to 9, it would be 9 units. And then I'll use Pythagorean theorem to find this length. So like 9 squared plus 3 squared equals c squared, and that's this length right here. So we'll get 81 plus 9, 90 equals c squared. Square root. And the calculator, just 90, and then this square root button right here. We get 9.49 is what we're to. C is 9.49. 9.49. And that's the length of this line. Perimeter, we're going to need all the sides, but it's a rectangle. So once I solve for that, I don't need to solve for this one over here. It's going to come out to the exact same thing. So little hack there. Once you have this side, you have the opposite side. And then for this side, we have to do the same thing. We have to solve for it, and we're going to use Pythagorean theorem. So just sketch out right triangle. 2 units here by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units. And then using Pythagorean theorem, 2 squared plus 6 squared equals c squared. Square root of both sides, and then c is about 6.32. So that would be this measure right here. And then once we have all the sides labeled, we can answer these questions by plugging numbers into the equation. So area is length times width. So area equals, either one you want to consider length is fine. It's just going to be 9.49 times the width, 6.32. Multiply those two numbers in a calculator and it comes out to 59.98 units squared. And then for perimeter, we add up all the sides. 6.32 plus 9.49 plus 6.32 plus 9.49. Add those numbers up in a calculator and the perimeter comes out to 31.62 units. And then when you have that written down, flip your paper to the back, and then when I hear most of you flip, I'll know to move on. Okay, so then flipping it over, it starts out with the easy stuff again. So the first one, area of the triangle. So write down your equation, area equals 1/2 base times height. I'm going to start moving a little bit faster now that we've seen this a couple times. So base and height. The length of this base from -9 to 1 would then be 10 units. And then the height from -6 to 1 must be 7 units. And then once I have those two dimensions, I can plug it in. So area equals 1/2, 10, 7, half of 70. So if you needed to, you could plug it in the calculator. 35. And the area is 35 units squared. On to the next one. Yeah, let me hear you got it. Okay. Next one, same thing. What is the area of the triangle? So write down the equation. Don't skip this step. It's what keeps everything together. So area equals 1/2 base times height. We're going to need the base and the height. The base, I'm using the coordinates to save me a little bit of time. It's from -1 to 7. So that must be 8 units. And then this is at -8 to 6, and that would be 14 units. Area equals 1/2, base is 8, height is 14. 8 times 14, 112. Then in the calculator, 1/2 times 112 is 56 units squared. Okay, next. Area and perimeter of the rectangle here. Area is length times width. Perimeter, we're going to add it all up. So we need to find the dimensions, length and width. Length here from -6 to 4, that must be 10. And then here from -8 to 1 would be 9. And then with a rectangle, opposite sides are equal. So if this is 9, this is 9. And if this is 10, this is 10. And then we can plug in numbers. So area equals 10 times 9. Then for perimeter, add up all the sides. 9 plus 10 plus 9 plus 10. And 38 units all the way around. Okay, then number 10, again, this would be like, number 10 would be level 3 on the EOC, which I know is probably a lot of your goal. So over here, what are the area and perimeter of this rectangle? So area is length times width, and then we'll also find perimeter. To find the length and the width, we're going to have to solve for it. So let's see. So I'm trying to find this length and this length. And I can't count squares because it's on a diagonal. So I'm going to sketch out a right triangle and then use the dimensions of that right triangle to find that length. So for this right triangle, this would be 2 units by 0 to -9 would be 9 units. So I can do 2 squared plus 9 squared equals c squared to find this length. 4 plus 81. Square root, c equals 9.22. So put 9.22 here. That's that length. And then because it's a rectangle, this is also 9.22. I don't have to solve that again. Then to find this length, I'm going to do the same thing. Sketch out a right triangle. The dimensions here are 3 by, from -3 to 9, it's actually 12 units. Yeah, this is confusing. 12 units. Then I got 3 squared plus 12 squared equals c squared. Did you have a question? I thought it hurt. Okay. So I got this set up to find this. So I got 9 plus 144. Those two, which is, oh, it's just a guy. 9 plus 144 is 153. Square root. And then C is 12.37. So that's the length here, 12.37. And then that would also be this length. Okay, and now that I have all the dimensions, I can plug it into the equation. Area equals length times width, so just 12.37 times 9.22. So the area comes out to 114.05 units squared. Then for perimeter, add up all these values. Plug those four numbers in a calculator and it comes out to 43.18 units. And that is all. So, what you're going to do is leave this out on your desk so I can come around and give you credit for it. And then you're going to get a laptop and work on your weekly Khan Academy. So you'll go to khanacademy.org, use the new login that I gave you, and work on Khan Academy.